Three, two, one. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Katie Loves Voiceplay podcast. This is episode 8. So, a lot has happened since the last time I did the episode of the podcast, but I'm not going to be here to talk about that. I did a live chat on my YouTube channel explaining all of that wonderful fun. So, go check that out on my YouTube channel. Anyway, we are here to talk about. So I've talked about Jeff, I've talked about Jay, I've talked about Ellie, I've talked about Layne, I've talked about Kathy, I've talked about just Voiceplay in general. So this next person that I am going to talk to you about has been a present, but is now a former member, but has now come back, kind of as behind the scenes, kind of director type costumer person. So, he is a dancer, he is a singer, he is the co-owner of PattyCake Productions, and he was also on the sing-off with Voiceplay, Mr. Tony Wakim. Hooray, hooray, all that fun. So where do I start about talking about Tony? So, at the beginning, when I first got into Voiceplay, I had no knowledge of Tony, because I didn't look up anybody, like I said, I didn't know who anybody was. I just got, right into Phantom of the Opera because it was clickbait, and, while I'm watching it, I honestly, I had no idea that it was Tony who was singing as the Phantom. I know, I'm horrible at research. Horrible. So, but I absolutely loved his performance as the Phantom, and I've watched other, interpretations of Phantom of the Opera, and also, at the beginning, when I started getting into a cappella, for the first time, when it was just this brand new world to me, when I started to realize that it was people were taking that in that direction for certain songs, like a Broadway song specifically, and putting it into an a cappella version of it, I was like, okay, this is different, this is new. And at first I was like, how does this even happen? And then, I listened to Phantom, and I was completely taken away by it. Completely. When I listen to it now, I'm always picking up on new things and different things, and I have a lot of appreciation for Tony's performance in that one specifically. And he absolutely loved the track, but then little did I know that was his departure song. He was doing it because he was going to be departing to take on PattyCake full time. So I was like, oh. So then I had to go back in the catalogs and check him out in the other stuff that they'd done, like Survivor, all of the Aka Top 10s, all of that. And then, once I listened to those, my appreciation grew more and more. And I've always loved Tony's style, fashion-wise. His fashion sense is something that kind of sticks out about him the most. And I've always loved that about him. And yeah, I did not know a lot about Tony at the start. Then all of a sudden it was just he was gone. He had departed. And I was like, oh. Well, that's sad. He must have been in the group for, just such a short time, right? And then here I know he was, there for years. And then I'm like, well, that's how well I know about him. So, so then probably after that, I did a little bit of digging into his background and didn't find a whole lot. Because, I'm not good at research. For the life of me, I do not research things at all. That's why this podcast is probably doing so poorly. Anyway, yeah, so Tony, I have not had any interactions with him. I mean, other than maybe him being behind the keyboard of PattyCake, but, who's to know? Because it could have been Layne or Tony, And out of the both of them, they're absolutely crazy, so I don't know. They were telling me not to rob a bank and not do villainous things, but that's all part of the fun, is being a villain. Am I correct? Of course I am. So yeah. And then from there, I just started rewatching Voiceplay vids that had Tony. And then once I realized that he had come back when Jay came back for Friends on the Other Side, but then he was also with like Rich Man Girl, and he was helping everybody get dressed on that song. So it's always been good to see him in the background and, kind of helping with costume and helping with songs. So, he's still part of it when they need him to be. So that's always fun. Yeah, I've had no interaction with him, like not on a direct basis. I don't think I've ever had an interaction with him. But when I first signed up for Instagram and, started following the guy's Voiceplay's account and then just started following other people that were in the community, he was like my very first follower, I believe. And I like freaked out because I was like, oh my goodness. So then, because like if I was to pull up Instagram on like my computer or something, if I wasn't signed in, it would say that his account is private. But then when I sign into Instagram and I look at his account, it's no longer private. So it's like, yay, that's fun. Yeah, and I've heard that he's a super nice guy. Again, have not had an interaction with him, but as far as I know from seeing personality, he's funny, he's talented, just has a sense of direction, knows what he wants and what he's expecting of the people that he's working with, and they're very, very good in that aspect. So moving on with that, I'm going to move more into PattyCake here, because when I started getting into PattyCake, at first I was like, here's the thing about me. I don't get interested in things that people tell me about right away. It takes some time for me to do it on my own time, to check them out. And then once I checked out PattyCake, I was hooked. Instantly hooked. The Villain's Lair, I started. And then by the time I realized that I was at the end, I was like, this can't be it. This can't be the end. So then I went to Princess Academy, checked all that out. And then, I was just watching like every video from the start to the finish, like until they bring out a new one sometime. And, yeah, absolutely enjoyed every moment of it. Like, just, I was hitched. I binged it, like, every evening when I had the chance. I was, like, watching, like, 2 to 3 videos in one night. And I cannot get over the talent that they have in that cast. It's just so amazingly done. And, props to Layne and Tony for that. And Layne and Tony for PattyCake have not had it easy. I read an article that was online, and it was from the Orlando newspaper. I forget what it's called. Don't hate me for this, I'm sorry. But they were talking about how they first started, and they were in a garage, no running water, no air conditioning, sweating it out, and just trying to make it possible day by day. And then, they kind of hit internet fame, essentially. And, it just goes to show that hard work and, perseverance really does wonders if you know your craft and you know what you're doing, and you're taking the time to perfect it, and you're taking your time to really work on those elements. And then I found out that they were working in a mall, and even then the AC can't handle the Florida heat. So yeah, but I'm extremely proud of them, and I'm extremely proud of just everything that they've done at PattyCake. And for just to come up with the idea of like Disney villains and like telling their own story and like having their own world seems kind of inspiring, really, because it's like, they have to have fun too, villains have to have fun, like happily ever afters don't always have to happen. Like, they're always going to be scheming, they're always going to be looking at things from a different point of view, and they're always going to be thinking of ways to stop the hero, and it just kind of reminds you that, hey, you're going to run into people that are going to be villains, so, just always try to be a good person, all while having fun being the villain at the same time. So, but yeah, I mean, just on a basis, I think he liked one of my comments, and then he possibly might have given me one from the PattyCake Productions account. I don't know. But yeah, it's super fun, being a follower of his, and I always forget that he's following me, and I know he's a very busy guy, so I don't know how well he is on like social media, if he checks it like religiously, but I always go back in my mind and I like look at my stories and I'm like, okay, he's probably gonna like they are probably gonna think that I'm the weirdest person on earth, but I don't really care. So let me see. What have been some of my favorite performances of Tony's? Phantom, for sure. I would have to say Acrompella, because some of his parts in Acrompella are really, 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 really good. Like, they really stick out. Phantom, Survivor is really good too. Like, all of them are good. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like, all of them are good. They all have their own individuality and their own different arrangement. Once Upon a Dream is good too. Scares the crap out of me. It wasn't even the jump scare that got me. It was Jeff's dragon breath. That's really weird. There's like some sort of toccata and flag going on in the background right now. So it's just like perfect ambiance for me talking about a podcast, right? So, yeah, like Tony is an incredible singer. Incredible. And I also found out, well, like, with doing research, I knew that him, Jeff, and Kathy all worked the Beetlejuice Rock and Roll Grapevine Review in Orlando. So that's always fun. And Tony was Dracula. So he makes a very, very good Drac, let me tell you. Both Jeff and him make very good Draculas. So I love that. I love vampires. So the macabre is always my thing. Tony is an incredible singer. I don't think I've seen a lot of him dancing. Not that I know of. Not that I have actually seen. If there is footage out there, send it to me. And I will definitely watch it because I want to see him dance. Because like Phantom really sticks out to me for that reason, because it introduced me to him, and it's very ironic because it was just one of those last songs that he did before he departed, and but just the way to depart literally on high notes is it was a great way to do it, and he did an amazing job, and I think he's always done an amazing job with any song that he did with Voiceplay. I think I could just imagine the shenanigans that they would get up to all together. And, I go back in Patreon and, I watch some of the stuff and it's just like, oh my gosh. The one thing that really creeps me out is when they're getting ready for Survivor. This wasn't on Patreon, so don't get mad at me. But I think Tony had to help Ellie get his contacts in for Survivor. And just the idea of having somebody come up to you and stick their fingers in your eye. Ugh. No. No thanks. I guess I can see why I've never had to do contacts. I did do very fakey contacts once. Ugh. Never again. Just grains of sand in the eye all evening, and then it's like I had to resist the urge to scratch my eyes out because it's like so itchy and red and puffy and ugh. It was just a mess. But anyway, I digress. I will give them all the credit for wearing those contacts. So, let me see. What else can I say about Tony Wakim? Well, he recently worked with Voiceplay on Dragonborn, which came out yesterday. So when I say yesterday, it would have been Friday the 4th of February. And he did an amazing job with that too. He helped, direct the guys. Costuming was kind of his area, but it was also Jeff's idea for the costuming, even though his didn't fit. So, yeah, it's good to see him back. It's good to see him, behind the camera, being director, helping them out in a sense, and just being another set of hands that they need for amazing videos like that one, for example. And like Friends on the Other Side, he did really, really well on that one too. So, yeah, Tony has been a very good guy, and he's been doing well for himself. And he's very sassy. He's extremely sassy, but super nice at the same time. He's nice and sassy, all wrapped up in one neat little package. And he has pretty eyes. Look up pictures of him, and just look in his eyes. And they're gorgeous. Between him and Ellie, gorgeous eyes. Gorgeous. Just fall in love every single time. Just when I think that, I'm always attracted to brown eyes, it's like, no. Blue. Blue are my favorite. So, yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I can't think of anything else to say about Tony because I don't have the background and I don't have, the information. I don't. So, hopefully this was somewhat informative for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If not, let me know in the comments and I will never do this again. So, but if you guys want more, let me know. Give me suggestions for who I should talk about next. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. So long.